Here it comes. He was just, I think it's a very rare thing today when a couple has the kind of relationship that we had. Um, we were together for 37 years, high school sweethearts at two different high schools. And the first time I met him, we were debating each other. And the whole debate, I kept thinking, he is so cute. He is so cute. And so I beat him. And after the debate was over, I knew which school he was from. So I found his bus, the school bus. We were juniors in high school. And I just walked on his bus, found him, and sat on his lap. And I told him I thought he was gorgeous. And he looked at me and said, "You have the most beautiful green eyes I've ever seen." And that was it. That was it. So, junior year in high school. Yep. So, I mean, we broke up 5,000 times before we got married, but, you know, but I knew. I teach that we shouldn't know. I teach that there's no such thing as love at first sight, because that's kind of what the research says. But in my personal experience, he was everything I wasn't, and I was everything he wasn't. He was as calm, 6'1", I'm 4'11", and he was just as calm could be. And he always told me he married a ping pong ball, just never knew. Just this energy. But he was just so chill. So it didn't matter whatever happened. He was just chill, So, but he was hysterically funny. Dave was the kind of dad that worked 80 hours a week. And we never had much because it was before I started teaching at K-State. So we never really had much. But he was the kind of dad that would get up at 5 a.m. and take all the boys to the Kanza to see the sunrise. And they would have their own church out at the Kanza on a Sunday morning. And he instilled values and a belief system in them. It didn't have to be formally in a church, that this is how you treat women. This is how you treat your wife. And I jokingly say that I'm a 5-star girl, but it's because he always treated me like one, never let me walk on the outside of the street. He always walked on the outside of the street and would put his arm around my waist and put me on the inside of the street. And a couple of weeks ago, my youngest son asked, will you go wedding ring shopping with me? Will you help me pick out Laura's wedding band? And I said, oh, I'd love to. So we went to the plaza, and without thinking, he just put his arm around me and put me on the inside of the street because he'd seen his dad do it 1,000 times. I mean, I still had a husband who opened a car door for me. Some people would not like that. I happened to like it. It was just his way of loving me. Every morning I woke up, his hands were really big. And every morning I woke up and he would take both his hands. And I only wear a size 5 shoe. And he would take both hands and just wrap his hands around my feet. And just rub my feet every morning before I got out of bed. Just little things, But to see those characters passed on to my sons, to see my sons parent the same way that Dave parented his sons, never raising his voice. And I'm not idolizing a dead man. This truly is who Dave was. Dave refused to argue with me. And I love a good fight. I'm Irish, we fight anything we can't drink. That's the Irish way. I don't know why I got breast cancer and I'm still the one here. You know, I got mad at Dave a couple of weeks ago. And because if I die, all the kids have to do is get rid of fabric and yarn. Like, that's it. That's what's in the house. He always used to have a joke. Anytime you kids piss me off, I'm moving an antique to the attic. So when I die, you have to move it out. Like, he used to joke about that. But he wasn't joking. Like, he seriously moved things to the attic. So there's all this stuff in this attic, you know. And so I told him a couple of weeks ago, as we were still cleaning things out, you know, if the Bible's true, and the Bible says when we die, we have a mansion in heaven. I said, if our mansion has a couch in it, you are sleeping on it for the first 2 weeks, because you have left me with all of this stuff to deal with. Like, how many Allen wrenches does one man need? 31, I think, is excessive. But that's how many Allen wrenches Dave has had. That's the count so far, 31 Allen wrenches. Because God knows, you know, whenever you're going to need an Allen wrench, you just have to have them within reach. And so these are the things I'm finding out about the secret life of David Welch that I never knew, you know, before he died. So he loved Allen wrenches. He loved hammers. Really loved ladders. Like, I didn't know we had that many ladders. So anyway, but I just saw my dad was always my hero when I was growing up. And then I ended up marrying my hero, you know. And how I know that I'm going to survive this, even though I still cry today. I miss my best buddy, you know. But I know I'm a survivor because we've been through this. We said everything we needed to say in 1997 when I was told that I wasn't going to live much longer. And we said everything we needed to say again in 2000. And we said everything we needed to say again in 2004 and 2006 and 2007, you know, because of all my health issues. And we adopted what we called our 5-year rule, that if it wasn't going to make a difference 5 years from now, we didn't let ourselves get upset about it, you know. And that's my advice to any student listening to this, that grade that you're working so hard on right now, 5 years from now is probably not going to make a difference. That breakup, that car wreck, that boot on your car, whatever, is not going to make a difference 5 years from now. I came to K-State in 95 to get my doctorate and was diagnosed with breast cancer in 97 and had 4 young sons under the age of 12. And I shouldn't be here. You know, I've had breast cancer twice and was treated in Kansas City for it. And I know one night at 3 a.m, Dave got a phone call, and the doctors called him and said, if you want to see her again, you need to get in the car and come right now. And Dave got in the car and brought all 4 boys, you know. What was so neat about that, so we'd already said all our goodbyes. We'd already said, that's why we lived our lives so differently. When I see people get in petty arguments or see things that people think are the end of the world, and it's not really the end of the world, you know. And how I know that I'm going to survive this, even though I still cry today. I miss my best buddy, you know, but I know I'm a survivor because we've been through this. We said everything we needed to say. My grief right now is not going to make a difference 5 years from now. I know I'll see Dave again. My faith assures me of that. He assured me of that in the letters that he wrote to me. He was just so selfless. And again, I say all this, I don't want to idolize him. And I told the boys that, I said, there's two things I want to make sure. I said, Dad was a great man and a phenomenal husband. But I said, one, I don't want you to ever make your dad an idol, because he was a flawed man. Human beings are flawed. And I said, don't make him an idol. You can aspire to be characteristics or carry traits on, but don't idolize him. And I said, two, don't make grief your idol. We have to move on. And moving on, people don't get it. It doesn't mean that you put the puzzle back together without that person. It means you have to put together a totally new puzzle. And it's impossible. But you do it. And if you would have told me a year ago that I would still be standing, or at my son's engagement party with my grandchildren just laughing, and with a heart full of nothing but joy and happiness and thanksgiving and gratitude, I would have never believed it. But we do. We move on, and he's got some splaining to do. But I know he's with me. So it's hard. It's hard when grandbabies are born and he's not there. It's hard when engagements are announced and he's not there. And it's hard when they get married and he's not there. But, I should have died in 97. And so why would I be angry at God? I got all those extra years with Dave and I shouldn't have had. So that's kind of how we're getting through it. And 6 months before he was killed, his mom was dying. And we were providing hospice care for her. And we went to turn her in bed. And our hands kind of met up underneath his mom's body. And Dave just started crying. And he said, I'm going to have to do this for you someday. Because we're very realistic about my life expectation, how long I should live. And I said, as long as we're holding hands, honey, we can do it. And so in his letter, his very last words to me were, sweetie, I love you with my whole heart, and I don't want to leave, but I have to. And he said, don't be afraid. Jesus is sitting right next to me. And he said, my hand won't be the last hand you hold on earth, but it'll be the first hand you hold in heaven. And he said, when you're ready to go, just reach out and I'll take your hand and I'll help you cross the Jordan. And those are the last words he wrote to me. So in my heart, I believe that all things happen for a reason.